This is Twit.
Apple acquired crowdsourced location data company Locationary. The deal includes Locationary's technology and team. Apple did not disclose a price when it confirmed the deal to All Things D. The Toronto-based company helps keep business information and location data up to date.
Google's second quarter came in below analyst expectations, but still managed to be impressive. The company consolidated revenue of $14.1 billion, up 19% from a year-ago quarter. Net income of $3.23 billion, and earnings per share of $9.56. Analysts were hoping to see Google's revenue jump at least 20% year over year. Might have been a little ambitious. The company only missed that, though, by 1%. Google's stock initially jumped to an all-time high back on Monday after the revenue results dipped about 5% in after-hours trading.
Analysts expect the world because Microsoft reported its earnings and they were below expectations. The company took a $900 million charge for its inventory of Surface tablets. Microsoft earned 66 cents per share. That would not include the Surface charge, but analysts expected 75 cents per share. An analyst at Pacific Crest Securities said this was the biggest miss they've seen from Microsoft. Are there any silver linings in the report? Revenue was up 10%. Revenue was $19.9 billion, but Wall Street expected $20.7 billion. So big
Michael Hayden, former head of the U.S. CIA, told the Australian Financial Review that if Huawei would have been allowed to build the backbone of telecommunications networks, it, quote, would have shared with the Chinese state intimate and extensive knowledge of the foreign telecommunications system it is involved with. Huawei spokesman Scott Sykes told Bloomberg, quote, these tired, unsubstantiated, defamatory remarks are sad distractions from real-world concerns related to espionage, industrial and otherwise. And the fight goes on.
Kevin Paulson explains in a post on Wired that MIT lawyers are filing a motion to intervene in his Freedom of Information Act, or FOIA, lawsuit over thousands of pages of Secret Service documents about the late activist and coder Aaron Schwarz. He explains back in February, the Secret Service denied his request for any files it held on Schwarz, citing an FOIA exemption that covers sensitive law enforcement records that are part of an ongoing proceeding. Paulson says MIT is afraid the release of Schwarz's file will identify the names of people at MIT who helped the Secret Service and prosecutors pursue felony charges against Schwarz for his bulk downloading of academic articles from MIT's network in 2011.
Eric Voorhees, no relation to Jason Voorhees, just sold a Bitcoin gambling site called Satoshi Dice for 126,315 Bitcoins. That translates to over 11 million US dollars. The identity of the buyer is not known, but BitCapital's John Bridge was surprised that it sold for such a high amount and believes the site was picked up by an existing gaming institute.
Yeah, and Bitcoin. NPR reports that 24-year-old Stephen Balaban is developing an alternative operating system for Google Glass. Balaban was one of the developers behind a facial recognition app for Glass. Google banned the app after several people, including U.S. government officials, expressed concern over widespread facial recognition. Google Glass's Explorer Edition comes with some restrictive terms of service that, among other things, let Google deactivate the device if they don't like what you're doing with it.
VLC for iOS is back in the App Store. Videoland's latest version of the multi-format player and decoder runs on iOS 5.1 or later and supports the iPhone, the iPad, and the iPod Touch. It's open source, and its code is now available online by licensed under the Mozilla Public License version 2, as well as the GNU General Public License version 2 or later. Now, the first is applicable for distribution in the App Store, which was a missing element and why Apple pulled VLC from the App Store back in January 2011.
Leap motion controllers should arrive in stores next week, and the New York Times is on it. The New York Times Idea Lab created an official app that lets you page through stories with a wave of your hand. Holding your finger up Harrison Ford style, scrolls through a menu of news story, then you swipe to select a particular story. Once you're done, just shake your hand to send the story back into the carousel of headlines.
Android users, you could be making money just by unlocking your phone. There's a new app called Lock It, and it launched today. It places ads on your lock screen. When you swipe to unlock your device, you get paid. Now, the app doesn't force you to view full ads. If you want to watch something like a trailer, you'll actively have to choose that. Regardless of which way you swipe, you'll get paid a whopping 1 cent per swipe, and that's capped at 3 cents per hour, so go for it.
Yeah. Joanna Stern from ABC said she's earned 6 cents this morning since she installed it. You know, keep that in mind.